Hi guys, welcome back to the Hollyburn Sewalong, and today we're going to be finishing off our waistbands, and I'm going to talk you through a technique as to how to do this, which is called stitching in the ditch. Now I've already put a little bit of top stitching on my waistband, as you can see here, but what stitching in the ditch means is that when we fold over our waistband like this, we are going to stitch through the seam that we created when we sewed together our waistband and our skirt. So that little crease between both of these pieces is where our line of stitching will go, which will basically make it invisible from the outside whilst catching the back of our waistband when it's folded over. So if this stitch line here is our crease, we're going to want the back of our waistband to slightly overlap that line so that when we sew through the crease, we will catch our waistband at the back and sew it in place. Before we pin our waistband into place, I like to pin the tops of my zipper tapes out of the way. So I fold them back at a 90-degree angle like this and just pop a quick pin in there. Once that's been pinned out of the way, we're going to start folding over our waistband. So because we're going to be stitching in the ditch, or that crease, we're going to want to make sure that there's that little overlap with where we're stitching and where the waistband sits at the back, so that we can catch that waistband fabric when we're sewing it. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean in action. So I folded over my waistband, and I'm putting my pins in to secure it directly into the seam or the ditch to make sure that when I do that, I can catch the back of the waistband with that same needle. So you can see here that my pin is sitting right in that seam where I'll be sewing in a little bit. And you can see from the back that I am catching the waistband with that pin so that I know when I stitch this in place it's going to be in the perfect position for stitching in the ditch. And you'll want to continue doing this across the entirety of the waistband. Until everything is secured in place and you are ready to sew. At this point, I like to do up my zipper just to make sure that both sides of the waistband are even and level, and as you can see they are here, so we are ready to head to the sewing machine and sew this bad boy. So we are sewing with our regular foot and our regular stitch length, so again mine is 2.5, and what I've done is anchored my needle directly in that seam, so in the ditch. But as you can see here, we're going to be sewing through quite a lot of bulk to start off with, because we have multiple layers of fabric, we have the fold over waistband, we have the zipper tape, and so what I like to do just to ease through this start off point is, rather than sewing with the foot of the sewing machine, I will manually crank using the handle on the side of the machine. So I'll turn this with my hand, controlling the machine manually, and I'll just very slowly ease my way through this particular bulky part of the waistband to start off with. Once you've gone past that initial stage, you can just sew as normal, but I would say go as slowly as you like, because you want to make sure that those stitches are pretty much invisible. So be as precise as you can, making sure that you're sewing directly into that seam, into the ditch, as you see here, and there's absolutely no reason to rush this process at all. Once you've finished stitching in the ditch, your waistband will be beautifully secured in place. Invisible from the outside, but from the inside you can see our line of stitching through that folded edge. For a finishing touch, we're going to press along the folded edge of our waistband just to make things nice and crisp. To finish off my skirt, to mimic the top stitching that I have on the pocket and the bottom of the waistline, I will also be putting an extra line of top stitching along the folded edge here. Another little thing you may want to do is, you'll notice that you've got a little opening at each side of your waistband. This can be finished by machine, but my preferred finishing technique for this is just to put some slip stitches into each of these to close them off and neaten them up. And what we have now, you guys, is pretty much a finished skirt. Almost. There's a couple of little bits left to do. You can see we need to finish our hem for one, but all of that will be coming up soon. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below or head to the Inside Number 23 Ravelry group. But for now, I'll see you all soon. Bye!